Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous on the PlayStation 4. Now in the previous video we were looking for materials down on the surface of one of the planets, but today what I want to do is make a bit of use of some of that money I earned way back last week doing the community goals. Let's just have a quick look at my balance there. Yours may be a lot higher by now, it may be a little bit lower. I'm at 15.9 million, which is not bad this early on, considering I haven't been doing a great deal in it, and a lot of that came from the community goals. Some of them I cashed in, the other one is still ongoing. There's still another 4.5 million to come from the community goal in Rakapilla. Anyway, what I'm planning to do today, like I say, is putting some of that money to good use and purchasing a passenger ship. With passenger ships you can do passenger missions. Well, in fact you can do passenger missions with just about any ship, but they seem to be a bit more effective with dedicated passenger ships because they have a little bit more variety and options to fit passenger related modules on board. Now I will quickly go through a couple of third-party tools that you can use to help you find modules and ships. Now, the downside with Elite Dangerous is that it doesn't offer many in-game tools, and so if you're searching for modules, if you're searching for ships, it can be a royal pain to actually find what you want. Many things are scattered across the variety of systems, and with there being probably close to 100,000, maybe more, different stations that you can dock at, it could take you a long time to actually find what you're looking for. So for me, I like to use third-party sites. There's two of them that I use. One is eddb.io and the other one is Edie Shipyard. Now eddb.io will show you what's in stock or what stations, and we'll have a look at that just about now. Right, so this is one of the websites that I was talking about. This one's called Edie Shipyard. It's at the URL edshipyard.com. I'll link that in the video description. And here we can outfit a ship, an imaginary ship, so we can get an idea of what build we want. So we're going to go for a dolphin, and well, we don't need pulse lasers on it, but we're going to leave them in there for the moment. All of these I'm not too worried about at the moment, but one thing I do want is an A-rated frameshift drive. We also want passenger cabins. I want to go for the best one we can afford, which is a luxury class passenger cabin, and in there we'll also go for the best passenger cabins. Where have they gone? Down here. So we go for 4C, which is a first class one, and in here we'd put another first class passenger cabin as well, if you can find it. So we go 4C. Now I've got rid of a shield generator, you may have noticed there, but that's because I'm going to put in a shield generator into the A rack. Not too worried about having massively powerful shields, so we just want a 3A shield. And down here we can put in some economy class passenger racks, assuming we can. Yep, 2E. And I may actually change one of these first class ones to economy as well for A. So what we can see here now is that the price of the ship in total is 5.2 million, and we'll have a jump range of around about 22 light years. Now I'll refine this once we get to the station, but this is a good way of seeing what sort of build you want on your ships. But the next thing we need to do is to figure out where we can go and purchase all these modules. Now I'm not one for wanting to spend loads of times flying from system to system, station to station to try and find all these things. I'd prefer to find them all in one location. So to do that we come to this website, which is eddb.io, the one I mentioned just a moment ago, and find it. Well, basically here you can find everything you want. They've got a list of commodities. We could go to commodities, and we'll come back to this in another video, and you can choose a commodity here and find what station it's available at. You can also have a look at all the information relating to specific systems, but what we want to do in this video is go to stations, and we're going to put down here a reference system, and we'll type in Acellus Primus. You can see there, Baker's Prospect, Beagle 2 Landing, which is the station I'll be going to, or the station I'm at. And up here we want to choose stations or systems nearby to where we're at that actually sell the dolphin. So over here we put dolphin, And over here we can type in the modules that we want. So we type in passenger. We wanted some 2E passenger economy ones, didn't we? We wanted a 4E economy. And we wanted a 4B, wasn't it? 4C? Can't quite remember what I chose, but we'll go with that anyway. First class. And we want a luxury one if we can find it. So 5B luxury. Let's click back to Edie Shipyard just to make sure. Yeah, 5B a luxury class. So we want that as well. And we also want the shield generator. So there's quite a lot of items we want, and we want to be able to get these without flying around from station to station, like I say. 3A shield generator. So we want a station. What we're looking for is a station that sells the dolphin along with all these modules, all in one location. We've chosen our reference system here. That's where we're located. We can choose planetary outposts here if we want to include those, and you can refine it further. But again, that's something we'll look at in another video. That's essentially for other purposes than what we want now. So we can click Find Station, and right here we can see the Orion system and Davis Port. These are all these stations in fact will sell everything that's in the list up here, but they are listed by distance. So we're going to go to this one here as it's very, very close by. Based on what we saw on that website then, we know we need to head to the Orion system, or Orion system, however that's pronounced, and we need to land here at Davis Port. Now hopefully this should have everything that we actually require, but do keep in mind that sometimes the information on that site does go out of date. It's all dependent on when the database was last updated for this particular system. So we're going to get in here, and I'm going to go for the Dolphin class ship. Now the Dolphin is the smallest passenger ship. There are two others. There's the Orca, which is a mid-sized one. That costs around 50 million to purchase, so way more money than I've got at the moment. And the largest by far, probably the largest ship in the game actually, is the Beluga, and that's a pretty expensive ship. So where are we? We're down here on docking pad 6.
500 meters from touchdown.
And we're about to find out if I'm going to have to go on a shopping trip around the galaxy, or if we've got everything located here. Hopefully in this case the system tools are up to date, and we've got exactly what we want when I actually touch down and don't overshoot the mark, that is. Right, so into Starport Services, and the first thing we do is have a look at the shipyard. So we'll have to leave the Cobra here, unfortunately. But that shouldn't be a problem. So have we got a Dolphin? Yes, we have. We've got a Dolphin. 1.3 million, so quite an expensive purchase in comparison to the ships I've purchased so far, that is. And got to be careful here not to click on the wrong thing. We don't want to sell the Cobra, which you can see is now worth around 2.2 million. We want to keep that because we're probably going to be using it in the future. It's a good multi-purpose ship at this stage in the game. So let's have the Dolphin. So it does come with some basics already fitted, like with all other ships. It comes with a basic jump drive, and I believe it should come with some passenger cabins as well, but we're going to want to strip it out of all those and update the whole lot of them. So here we are then in our Dolphin. Let's have a little look outside just to get an eye out for what the thing actually looks like. Oh, I freed the camera up there. Into outfitting then. Doing good so far. At least we've managed to get the ship that we want. Now we just need to manage to get the items that we want. So I'm going to upgrade the jump drive, the FSD, because at the moment it's only enabling us to do a jump range of just 10 light years. And as soon as we want to do passenger missions, it's not going to get us very far just like that. So we want the best module that we can fit in this ship because we can afford it. That is 1.6 million, so around about the same price as the ship. A little bit more expensive in fact. but that gets us up to a nice healthy 22 light years. And we can exchange this. We don't want to keep the old module that come with the ship. We've got no need for that now. And what you can do, if you do want, you can change some of these. If you change them to derating, for example, some of them do increase the heat output of your ship if they're derated, but what they also do is increase your jump range. You can see here E gives us a jump range of 22.98, whereas D gives us 23.54, so another half of light year increase. You could go for smaller power plants, but generally these won't afford enough power for your ship. This one probably would carry it off, but I don't always recommend underpowering your ship. At least I prefer not to. Some people do go that way, but I tend not to. And you can see if we did go for the 3D power plant, we could get 23.73, so nearly another quarter of a light year out of that. But these I'm going to upgrade, may as well get the best jump range out of the ship possible. The higher the jump range, the quicker you can complete the missions. So we will upgrade thrusters as well. Again, you can go all the way up. We can put a 5A in here, and you can see the 5A gives us a lot more manoeuvrability, a lot more power in the engines, and fortunately it doesn't affect the jump range at all. But if we went for a 5B, it gives us a lower jump range. If we go for a 5C, that's the same jump range that we currently got. If there's a 5D here, you can see again we get a slight increase. So I'm going to go for that. I'm going to derate pretty much everything, I think, except for the power distributor, which I'll probably well, we'll see how much they cost. So where are we now? We're 24.75. This gets us up to 25.5 nearly. So we're getting up quite nice and quite high there. We come back to power distributor, sensors, and you can see we're gaining quite a nice jump range on the ship. So that's everything, unless we want to change out the fuel tank here, but of course we can't because the ship comes as standard, the largest one fitted, but we could go for a smaller one if we're not worried about having too much fuel in the ship. And let's have a look at the power distributor. So I might, well, the thing is, you don't need a lot of power for these missions. I just like the ability to boost as fast and as often as I can, but I'm going to go for a 3D, and you can see we're now at 26 light years on our jump range, but that will probably decrease a little bit once we start fitting some additional optional modules. So we need to look at optional internals now, and this is where we start fitting our passenger cabins. I don't want to go potentially for the most expensive ones as long as they're here. And there you can see we can have a luxury class passenger cabin. Now the thing is, if you look over on the right there, we can see this is a luxury class, but it only allows us to take 4 people, whereas a first class one only allows us to take 3, but that's because it's smaller. So like for like, you can see the economy one allows us to take 16 people in a size 5 module, whereas the business one only allows us to take 10. So the higher the class, the more space each individual person actually wants, which is why of course they're luxury. So for now we're going to have that, but we might want to swap out in a minute depending on what missions are available. Oh, I don't know actually. Let's come back to that. Let's come back to that one. I'm going to fit out the size 4. The reason I'm hesitating is because I want to know how many passengers we can actually fit inside our ship. If we can't fit many passengers in, then we're not going to be able to take many missions with us. So first class, for example, we can fit only 3 passengers in, whereas business class allows us to fit 6. So that's a much better option really. And of course the economy allows us to take 8. So I'm going to go for a business class 1 there. And again we'll exchange. For this one I'm going to have an economy one in there. And yes, I'm replacing the shield generator. I don't really want a class or size 4 shield on here. I'm going to go for a size 3 shield. And that's only because I don't expect to come under much hostile fire during this. So we go for an economy class cabin here. And again the reason for that is so we can get the greatest number of passengers on board. Okay, and in the size 3-1 I'm going to fit a shield generator. Hopefully the best shield we can actually get. You can see that actually takes quite a lot of power, and it does reduce down our jump range quite dramatically. So that takes us down to 24.43. That takes us down to 24.75. So no reason not to have that one really. And you can see that's why I derated the rest of the ship. So in here we're going to put some other cheap passenger cabins, but I'm not expecting to be able to pick up passengers that only come with 2 people. You never know, sometimes it happens, but generally speaking, economy passengers come in bulk, usually end up having 8 or 9 odd passengers, sometimes more. So we're nearly done. So that takes me back to the size 5 module. I'm still hesitating whether or not to put an economy class one in there or go for the top class one, the luxury class. Let's have a quick look here at what sort of missions are available. We don't want regular missions, we want passenger missions. Under the passenger lounge, that's where you collect transportation missions or passenger missions. So you can see some of them are locked here. This one is simply because the requirements are not met. Now that's because it requires 9 passengers, 9 business passengers, so we couldn't have one of them anyway. This one here is for 2 business class passengers, so we could quite happily take that. In fact, I think we're going to take that. And once we choose a mission, you can choose which cabin it actually goes in. So you can see there, that will fit 2 people in that 6 slot. It can fit 6 people in there. We're only going to fit 2 on this mission. Now the trouble is, this means that cabin is now occupied, and we can't fill it with another mission. You might find another business mission for just 2 passengers, but unfortunately they won't mix with other people. Bit of a shame, but unfortunately it seems to be the way it is. Before I do that though, we're going to have a look over here and see if there's a better option. So 13 prisoners of war, requirements not met because we need to be cordial. Here we need to be friendly, and again we need to be cordial. So this is why I'm going to head over to Sellers Primus in a bit, because over there I've got much better ranking, because that's where we've been playing. My reputation with them is a lot better. So here's 822,000, which is a bit better. But do pay attention to how far away the mission is. That's 88 light years. And it's 5 passengers, but I don't want to go 88 light years. I want to get back to Sellers Primus if I can. So what we're going to do then, wherever they were, we're going to accept that business mission. You can see it's only 24 light years away. Now do pay attention to what's available up the top here. We've got to transport the CEO, Dominikowski Orbital. We will receive payment upon successful delivery. Plan your journey via the galaxy map, so make sure you can actually get there. Now here it says passenger traits. Does not react well to danger. Hull damage will dramatically reduce passenger satisfaction. Time sensitive, we don't want to get delayed. A high value target, so we may get chased by carrying them. Neutral, performing illegal actions will slightly reduce passenger satisfaction. Demanding, highly likely to make demands while on board. So sometimes they'll ask you to go and purchase something, or go and check something out that's in a different system, and you can ignore them, but that does sometimes annoy them. So we're going to put these in that cabin there. Okay, so I've decided what I'm going to do with the other cabin here. What we're going to do is change it out for a first class one or a luxury one. I think we'll go for the luxury one. Go for the luxury cabin, but we're not going to exchange it. We're going to store it, and that means the old economy class cabin will actually stay here at this station, and I can then call it over to a Sellers Primus a little bit later on in case I actually need it. And that way we've got the best of both worlds. We can change it in the event we need to. So quite an expensive ship now. We've spent quite a bit of our money. You can see we now only got 10.5 million left. So then, first things first, we're going to head out and complete this mission. As always, it's over on the Transactions tab on your left. We can open up the galaxy map and select the system straight away. So very, very close by, just 24 light years. Makes it nice and easy for us to get there. And that's where we're going to head now. We've got just 2 jumps to get there. I'll catch you when we get there. A very easy trip over here then. That went down without any incidents at all. Just 2 jumps. So nice and quick to get to as well. So we're going to just request docking permission and we can hand this particular mission in. We'll have a look in a minute to see if these passengers have made any requests. I can see there is a message up there on the top of the menu there, the top left. It may be one of their demands, but I always ignore passenger demands. If they're going to get on board my ship, then, well, we can stick with their original request. Now there you can see a ship scan has been detected, and that's one of the ships flying around outside, one of the security vessels, and what they're doing is seeing if we're carrying any illegal cargo, or seeing if we're actually a wanted pilot. They're also going to check the status of our passengers. If there's wanted passengers on board, then they may open fire on us. Now once you're inside the station, it breaks a line of sight and that scan can't complete. It actually takes a few seconds for that scan to complete. So as long as you're through the docking hatch, then they can no longer scan you. It's not the ship that scan. It's not the station that scans you, rather. It's the ships outside that scan you. So you do want to be a bit careful when you take certain missions on, because you can transport criminals and they will sometimes give you some trouble if you get scanned. So you can see we've got an update there. You just heard it come in as a mission critical update. And again, we'll have a look at what that's all about in a minute. Perhaps they wanted me to take them somewhere else, or perhaps they wanted me to buy some goods for them, but really not into running around for them, even if they are going to award me a bit of extra money. So you can see for that mission, I gained over 500,000 credits, 600,000 in fact. And you can see it's increased my reputation with the station I collected the mission from. So here we've got another mission, 720,000. And what you may be noticing is that passenger missions actually pay pretty well. The one down here, I haven't met the minimum reputation requirement, but that is 1.4 million credits. Now there are different types of missions. You have regular missions like the ones I just had, which are for point to point. There's also sightseeing missions. And these ones, the passengers want to go to various locations. Now these are quite nice to do because, well, they take you to some rather spectacular locations at times. Wharf 497, there'll probably be a tourist beacon there. Same at Sorbago and HIP 4184. So 3 different destinations, all quite a distance from each other. So it takes quite a while to complete that mission. But there is a nice reward in there for that. So really it's up to you. You might want to make as much money as fast as you can. If you do want to go on some sightseeing though, I highly recommend doing some of these missions right here, because some of them at least will take you to some very nice locations. Now you can see the passenger traits here. This is something I was telling you about to watch out for. Right at the top it says passengers may be wanted in multiple systems. So this guy's unfazed by danger, or Eugenia, this girl, is unfazed by danger. They're secretive, so being scanned will greatly reduce passenger satisfaction. So that scan we got coming in will cause us 2 problems. Criminal, if scanned by any authority vessel, you will be attacked. So keep that in mind, because carrying people like this does come with a risk. So anyway, we can't take that mission anyway. In fact, we can't take any of these because the requirements are not met. Let's have a look to see if we can see any other types of missions. Right, we got some others here which are probably way more money than you've seen at this point in the game, or at least during the videos I've done so far. We've got 6.3 million credits just for that one mission, one passenger mission. Now we can't do that one, unfortunately. because our requirements are not met. But let's have a look at what they want us to do. They want us to travel 6,180 light years. And we get 3 weeks, 6 days and 23 hours and 56 minutes to do that. So we basically get 4 weeks to complete that mission. And if we have a look over on the galaxy map, what we see is that they want to go all the way out to a nebula, a planetary nebula no less. So this would be a rather gorgeous little area there. Look at that. So if it weren't quite so far, I'd be inclined to go have a look, because that does look rather gorgeous. And I imagine the coloration when you're inside that system would look rather spectacular. But 6,000 light years is a very long way, and it's going to take us quite a few hours to actually get out that way, especially in a ship with a jump range as low as this. Now the other trouble is, it's quite possible that the ship might not be capable of jumping that far. And we'll have a look a bit more on the map in another video. You can actually do a lot of filters on here and find out a lot of other information on this map, but that's something we're going to have a look at a bit later. But what I was saying there is the jump range of this ship is only around about 24 light years, and some destinations you might find that the gap between one star and the next is actually greater than that distance. So you could find yourself getting all the way out, 5,000 light years say, and not be able to complete the journey because you can't make the jump. And unfortunately, there's no way to find that out until you actually get there. The map doesn't do any way of allowing us to figure that. So yeah, that's a major annoyance if it ever does happen. And again, look, we can see here 29 million credits. So very, very nice rewards. As long as you don't mess it up on the way back. Some of them, the people don't like being scanned, for example. You might get all the way out there, all the way back, only to find you get scanned and destroyed when you're about to deliver the passenger back to their home station. But anyway, they do take you to some nice locations. This time though, 26,000 light years. That's a very, very long time. Or a very long way rather. And you can see it's actually closer towards the galactic core there. So what we're going to do then is head back to Acellus Primus. We're not going to be picking up any of these missions, I don't think. No, we're not going to be picking up any of these missions. The reason I want to go back to Acellus Primus is because I've already got some good reputation with there. So we should be able to pick up a good selection of missions. Before we head off there though, just another note on the long-range missions. If you do take any of the long-range passenger missions, the one are many hundreds of light years and in some cases many thousands of light years, do make sure you take a fuel scoop. Without a fuel scoop, you're not going to be getting very far. It's also better to try and fit the largest fuel scoop you actually can so that you save time on the fueling up. Now I'm heading back to Acellus Primus here at Beagle 2 landing, and you've probably had this happen to you already. This is an interdiction, of course. Someone's trying to stop me. Sometimes it's just authority vessels, other times it's pirates. But what might not have happened to you is the interdiction tunnel drags you into a planetary body or even a star. And there's no avoiding this. It does sometimes happen, and you can see I've taken some hull damage. Now the reason I bring this up is because, of course, if I was carrying some passengers here, passengers who were sensitive to danger, then this would have caused them to either get unhappy, or it could have even caused the mission to fail. The best thing I could have done in this situation is to have submitted to the interdiction, and to submit you simply reduce your throttle to 0, and this is basically the same as pulling over. You just come to a stop, and whoever's trying to interdict you will successfully do so. Now in the situation what just happened there, you may not have enough time to submit. I could have reduced the throttle to 0 and I may have crashed into the planet anyway. But it's something that's worth being aware of. Here at Acellus Primus then, we can see my reputation with Acellus Primus Gold Legal is actually quite high. I'm very nearly allied with them. I'm actually friendly at the moment, a little bit more, maybe 1 or 2 missions, and we're getting into the allied status with them. So generally that will allow us to get access to better missions. Unfortunately I've not got an increase in any other factions here. I actually hoped I had better status with at least 1 more faction here, but unfortunately that's not to be. So Acellus Primus Academy. We've got a guy seeking a sightseeing adventure. 800,000 credits. And this would be one of those like before. We've got to go to multiple locations. I don't really fancy doing one of those. What else have we got? Now here you can see we've got 3 missions. And there's in fact another one down here. These are locked to allied status, which I'm not quite there yet, but getting close. Now this down here is exactly the sort of mission we want. Transport Stephanie and Neves to wherever. Where does she want to go? She wants to go to LHS 302, which is just 39 light years. And if we look at here on the right hand tab, we can see my jump range is 23 light years. So at the very most, that would be around 3 jumps, and we'd be able to get her there. And that would net us 1.6 million credits, so a very, very nice reward. Much better in comparison to Gerald here, who wants to offer 2 million to go on a sightseeing mission. Well, we've got to travel quite a lot further by comparison to that other one. But again, these are worth doing if you actually want to go on a tour around the galaxy of inhabited space especially, and try and find some very nice looking areas. So if you fancy giving passenger missions a try, I do recommend them because they're a very good way of making a nice bit of cash. For now, I think I'm going to go with transporting Chaz here to wherever he wants to go, GD 319. So another very close by location. One thing to pay attention for here actually is one of the rewards for this mission is a cargo reward. It's going to offer 4 nano breakers. Now here comes a problem. If you look at my module settings here, and if you look at my inventory, we can look at ship cargo, you can see I've got no cargo space. So what will happen here is that when I arrive at the destination system and drop Chaz off, I won't be able to actually hand the mission in. Chaz won't be able to leave the ship, I won't be able to claim the reward, simply because there's no cargo space, and, well, the mission guy won't be able to give me the cargo reward. So essentially, without a cargo bay, you cannot complete the mission. Now, there was talk from the developers that at some point they'll give us the option to refuse the cargo reward. Now, I'm not sure if that's actually been put into the game just yet, but as far as I understand, it's not in the game, so yeah, there's something to bear in mind when you do take on these missions. So then, that's passenger missions, a very nice way of making quite a lot of money. I'll be back soon with some more videos. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.